to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today, Around Kansas takes a look at forts of the American West, specifically the story of George and Libbie Custer's arrival at Fort Riley in 1866. Then learn about the recent Native Sons and Daughters Award honoring author Jim Hoy. Next, enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a story about the archaeological dig coming this summer in Council Grove. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. Just a short drive down the yellow brick road.
Well, good morning. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. And today we're in front of one of the many fireplaces here at the Dillon House.
We could use a fireplace with the weather we've been having.
Yeah.
At least we haven't gotten the blizzards that western Kansas and northern Kansas has gotten. I mean, they're just, you see the pictures on Facebook and it's just nothing. I mean, it's just a whiteout. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But that's winter. That's winter.
Every day is a day closer to spring. Yay.
That's right. One day closer. And the groundhog did not see his shadow. Of course, I also saw one report that he's been blind for 10 years, so maybe.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, doggone groundhog. So I want to give a shout out, Frank, to all the people who share photographs on our Facebook page, because every day or so we try to put up a different image, you know, as our cover photo. And there's so many incredible photographers out there. Mm-hmm. And some of them have become my friends through sharing their photography. And I love being able to highlight not only beautiful spots in Kansas, but the talent of some of these people. You know, Patrick Emerson over in Lawrence just does some beautiful stuff, and Rex Rosenberg and Robert St. Clair. And I know I'll leave people out, and but it's just amazing. And love Dan Frick. He's got a job on something to do with the oil company, so he's always out on work, you know, and taking pictures. And so, yeah, share those pictures with us. We love getting those. Yeah,
our Facebook page just continues to grow and grow and grow. Wow.
It does.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
like it when you like us. Yeah, we do. We do.
So, what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, I've been.
I mean, you're speaking everywhere. It seems
all
like.
over the state. You know, I had a phenomenal time in Oakley. When we did Kansas Day out in Oakley, we had nearly 1,000 school kids from all over the state. So Jane Pierce and I, and then they had other presenters there at the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center. Buffalo Bill's birthday is coming up next week, folks. It's February 26th. I'm still trying to make it a national holiday, but haven't gotten anywhere with that yet, but I'm still working on it.
So Calamity Jane in another life.
I got a photograph of me at her grave.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You know, she's buried at her request near Bill Hickok.
No. Okay. Oh, my.
Yeah, maybe I could be buried up there on Lookout Mountain next to Bill.
Yeah.
Reckon what Louisa would think of that. Not much, I'm sure, not much. all the you know, when Bill Cody died, there's this famous image. There's all these gals sitting there. You know, some of his girlfriends are sitting there with their little parasols, you know, keeping off the sun and everything. Oh my God, what his wife had to deal with. It was just crazy.
Okay, so I think we have some good stories for you today.
Oh, it's going to be an awesome day.
Yeah, and so we'll be back.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community.
Make plans to attend the 20th Annual Bleeding Kansas Lecture Series at Constitution Hall each Sunday at 2 p.m. from January 31st to March 6th. Donations welcomed.
Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
And we're back. Hey, you know, there's a novelty song that came out back in the 50s, early 60s called "Please, Mr. Custer, I Don't Want to Go."
I love that song.
I know, and I'm only doing that because I know you're going to do a story about Custer.
Yeah, you just can't avoid him. You know, Western history, Kansas, you can't avoid him.
Now, you also said that you had about 1,000 school children that you talked to, but one of them especially stood out because he asked a question.
This was so funny, and I'm reminded of it because in this next segment that we're going to do, Libbie Custer talks about how there are no walls at Fort Riley, and she's surprised when they get there. It's not like a real fort. Well, most of the western forts did not have walls for obvious reasons. There's not enough wood, so you can't put up a palisade. So when Jane and I were showing students the images, it's like an aerial representation of Fort Wallace. I asked the school kids, "Do you see walls?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, why not?" And, you know, some of them would say, because it's easier to get in and out, and, you know, and see, you know, all this stuff, you could escape, you know, and all, it was hilarious. But the one true Kansas boy, because they didn't build any, and that just
there you go,
cracked me up, because I started a file years ago on what I called Kansas logic, and I came to realize it's frontier logic. These guys, for example, I think this was my first one. After Lincoln was assassinated, this group of Kansans wrote to President Johnson and said, "We want Jeff Davis hung because we want him hung." You know, that's why we want him hung, because we want him hung. And it cracked me up, and they had a committee, and this is the letter they came up with.
We want him hung because we want him hung.
And it's that simple, and it's straightforward. We don't need to discuss it anymore. And that little boy, I'm like, a long line of pioneers right there, because they didn't build any.
Well,
That's
you know,
why there are no walls.
You know, Art Linkletter's, you know, children say the darndest things.
Yeah. Oh, they were awesome. They were awesome.
Please, Mr. Custer, I don't want
Please,
to go.
Mr. Custer. Please, TJ, give us another book on Custer. Let's take a look at it.
In October 1866, George and Libbie Custer arrived at Fort Riley, Kansas. "This is not a fort, though called so," Libbie wrote to a friend, "for there are no walls enclosing it." Rather, Libbie described it as a little city of limestone buildings. The forts of the American West were indeed different from those traditional forts of the East in that there were no walls. There simply was not enough wood to build them in most western landscapes. Instead, army posts depended on commanding a view of the countryside. Several Kansas forts, including Fort Riley, are discussed in the latest release from Pulitzer Prize-winning author T.J. Stiles. The book, Custer's Trials, A Life on the Frontier of a New America, will satisfy the nitpickiest of Custer fanatics as well as those of us fascinated with the 19th century American West. Stiles' rich descriptions of the landscapes and personalities of this era of Kansas make you want to step through the looking glass and straight into that colorful time. Custer was not born in Kansas, nor did he die here, but he is indelibly pressed upon the landscape. Though countless books have been written about him, this is a welcome volume. Western historian Robert Utley said of Stiles, He portrays a real Custer, full of flaws but possessed of outstanding combat skills and leadership. This biography easily overshadows its many predecessors, offering new facts and interpretations as well as a wonderful read. I concur. And for the Kansan, many of our iconic Army posts are brought to life in a new and exciting way. This really is a must-read.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. A high-energy, drought-tolerant crop, sorghum only requires 6 inches of water to produce the first bushel. And with its wide uses and easy adaptation, sorghum proves to be a truly indispensable crop. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
When the open range era came to an end, the homesteaders and settlers moved into Kansas and started building something that would change the life of the cowboys forever. I'm referring to fences. And this poem is based on the true story of the invention of barbed wire. It's called The Death of Open Range. Let me tell you of a time when open range was in its prime. Cowboys rode their horses forth and drove the huge herds of cattle north. We could ride all over this great land, unfettered by the human hand. Then a farmer over Illinois way invented something that's used to this day. His name was Mr. Joseph Glidden. He was doing the homesteaders' bidding. He took a pair of heavy pliers and wrapped barbs around a long piece of wire. The barb's sharp points kept stock in or out. It could be used for fencing all about. For the open range, it was a turn of events, 'cause barbed wire made it easy to string a fence. Barbed wire succeeded more than Glidden had planned. Soon fences crisscrossed the open land. The Old West changed with Glidden's invention, and it caused the cowboys apprehension. No more could we ride over free open range, and the cowboy's role would be forever changed. Homesteaders and nesters scarred this land and changed the role of the old cowhand. The cowboy's work continues on, but the days of the open range are gone. That open range would have no more hope. That's why cowboys called barbed wire the devil's rope. Happy trails.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com. Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Here we are again.
Welcome back. So, Frank, I, of course, obviously am not a native daughter of Kansas. I'm a transplant. So it is possible, maybe in some realm of reality, that I could one day be a distinguished Kansan. But were you born, are you a native son?
Oh, yeah.
You're a native son. So
Yeah.
where were you born?
Topeka.
In Topeka? So we'll put your name in the running there, you know, for the native sons and daughters who honor folks every year. And
Yeah.
have you ever been to that award show? Or that?
Yes, I have.
It's
Yes, I have.
it's an awesome deal. I did not get to go this year, but it's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. The year Roy Williams was inducted, and then the next year he said, "I'm going to North Carolina now."
Well, bless his heart. You know, Roy I, you know, being very fond of Roy and Dean Smith, the whole connection. When people were not happy with Roy Williams, I'm like, you know, Roy was born near Asheville, and I grew up in the mountains, you know, the top end of the state. And I'm like, golly, if you could see where Roy grew up, it is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. But, you know, home has a strong pull.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to meet Dean Smith, speaking of Roy Williams, when Dean was here. You know, he graduated from Topeka High and from KU. And so he came back to be honored at Topeka High, and I was president of Shawnee County Historical Society at the time. So I got to, I was kind of assigned to take care of Dean Smith, and oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Topeka High. This is a transition. Listen to this. Hoy, hoy, mighty Troy.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Great.
I have a story about someone named Hoy.
Hoy, hoy.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about all of the talent that is in the state of Kansas in music and art and literature, and he happens to be another one.
He does. Amazing.
Yeah. So,
Hoy, hoy.
hoy, hoy, mighty Troy.
Each year, the native sons and daughters of Kansas gather on or near Kansas Day to honor, well, native sons and daughters. This year's choice for Kansan of the Year was almost a given. He was sure to receive this award sometime in his life. Jim Hoy, who taught at Emporia State University for 45 years before retiring in 2014, is recognized throughout Kansas and beyond for his storytelling as well as his recording Western lore. He has authored, co-authored, or edited 17 books, including the story of Cowboy's Lament, the song commonly known as Streets of Laredo. Hoy loves telling crowds that the popular song originated in the streets of Kansas Cowtown, not one in Texas. Hoy's other books include co-authored Vaqueros, Cowboys and Buckaroos, Cowboys in Kansas, Stories from the Tallgrass Prairie, Prairie Poetry, Cowboy Verse of Kansas, and 2 volumes called Plains Folk. Hoy holds degrees from K-State, Emporia State, and the University of Missouri-Columbia. The teacher and rancher has also been inducted into the Kansas Cowboy Hall of Fame. Since he is not a native son, Dr. Jerry Farley, president of Washburn University, was honored with Distinguished Kansan of the Year. Washburn marked its 150th anniversary in 2015, and under Dr. Farley's guidance, and landscape of the campus has been dramatically changed, including the brand new KBI forensic facility there. Congratulations, Jim and Jerry.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. And I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
And we're back again. Hey, you know, as a kid, we all like to go out and play in the sandbox or play in the dirt, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And so as adults, we can go play in the dirt too, but it can be some fun, and it happens to be called archaeology. And in Kansas, there's a lot of that that's going on because, you know, this was the great inland sea, part of it. And so, well, of course, there are some dinosaur bones around, but there are a lot of seashells and just all kinds of things. In my around my pond, I have some rocks, and embedded in those rocks, which weren't made yesterday, are seashells and what have you, and it's really kind of fascinating. But I'm kind of stealing your thunder here.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, it really is. And so the literally just scratch the surface of you know, the earth, and it yields up treasures. And this summer, you know, every year the State Historical Society has a dig somewhere and picks a historic location. And this year it's going to be the Last Chance Saloon, Last Chance Store. This year it will be the Last Chance Store down in Council Grove. And it's a great place for amateurs to work alongside professionals. And so they look at everything, you know, the geology, the artifacts that might be there, and you know, what a great place. We've talked about Council Grove a lot on the show in the past few months because there's just so much history there. You know, the Santa Fe Trail goes back way before we were a territory even. So with people passing through from all over the place, you know, from people from all over the world. You got immigrants that come in, and then you've got, of course, the natives who are already here. You got people coming from the Southwest on the Santa Fe Trail, the Army marching back and forth on the Santa Fe Trail. So that should be a really, really cool one. That should be a great dig.
So put on your Indiana Jones hat and go join them.
Exactly, exactly, your Indiana Jones hat. And like you were saying, you know, we just did the fossil story last week, and there is so much. And I was talking to a friend of mine just last night about having a passion for life. And people look around and they're like, oh, this is so boring, there's nothing to do. And I'm like, good grief, get interested in something. Like I said, all you've got to do is just scratch around in the yard to find some miracle. You know, just get interested in something. There is so much here. But, you know, you got to get off your butt and do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you go out and you find an arrowhead and you look at that and you think, wow. You know, I'm holding something that someone hundreds of years ago made, used, and it's rather fascinating. At least it is to us.
It is, and you know, it puts your whole life in context. That's why I love studying history. Put your life in context. We weren't the first people here. We're not the last. You know, and you feel sort of connected to all those folks. So this is going to be a great opportunity to be a part of that learning experience.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh well.
The simple stone structure on Main Street in Council Grove is one of the most significant in the history of the American West. Situated on the Santa Fe Trail just west of the Neosho River crossing, the Last Chance Store was indeed the last place where freighters and travelers could obtain supplies between Council Grove and Santa Fe, a distance of 600 miles. The modest building was brought by boat from St. Louis to Westport Landing, now a part of Kansas City, and then mule teams brought it to Council Grove. It was used as a trading post, residence, polling place, refuge for enslaved people, grocery store, corn crib, loan association, and antique store. It is also the newest state historic site and will be governed by the Calm Mission site close by. This summer, the Kansas Archaeology Training Program Field School will descend on the Last Chance Store, giving the public a chance to become part of this historic dig. Bob Blasing, an archaeologist with dual residency in Oklahoma City and Council Grove, will be principal investigator for the project. Along with the field training from June 2nd through the 17th, many other opportunities are offered, including a class in metal detecting. Registration details will appear on the Kansas State Historical Society's website by March 1st. Make sure you register early. For more information, contact Virginia Wolfcool. This is an incredible opportunity to work with some highly trained and knowledgeable folks on a site that promises to yield lots of surprises.
Well, it's been an educational day here on Around Kansas,
It
hasn't it?
has, and we're out of time as usual. So
Doggone it.
I'm Frank,
I'm Deb.
and we'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Rainbow, this is where it was.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.